Hello.
Welcome, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon. All right. So where did we stop last?
We had drawn that, we used the data to draw that graph where you showed us how to do average, the line, to bring out the line for average, and then you showed us how to use area.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So let me share my screen. Okay, which data set did we use? Which data set did we use? Well, we still have that, what they call it? This superstore. Let me share one. Let me see that work. Okay, let me share this one. Let's use. It's still like your superstore data, but just a bit different. Because this one you have two files there. You know, all we have been doing, we have been using just one file, right? Now we just have one sheet with all the data there. But sometimes the data you are trying to combine may come from different tables. Okay, so you need to bring them together into one. Okay. So I think they're Excel files. So since the Excel file, you can just go to Microsoft Excel and Superstore others. We check the data here. So these are normal Superstore data, right? Like a Superstore data, but this one now has two files. So normally this is what we have been doing before. We just have one file, the dimensions and the rest, right? So for example, I can come down here. Maybe I can check the sales. But you see how the data is looking now. And remember, this is now a dimension. So what we can do, we can switch it to, let's say, monthly. I'm now looking funny. So let's swap that. Good. Then your analysis, not aggregate. So by not aggregate, so because it's daily data, so that's why you are seeing why a lot of fluctuations, isn't it? So it's not showing as if the sales is stable. So it's very volatile. Okay, so what we have been doing before, we just have just one sheet, right? Where we just plot all our charts in one place. Let's see our mood. Let's see our sales. Okay, let's swap it. Ship modes, sales. So if I want to switch the color, so I can take my ship mode to my color there, and I have that. Then If I want to remove that, I can take this out. No. All right, so this is what we have. So this is what we have been doing before, isn't it? So we just have just one sheet. Now, if you have another table that you need to now join together, you have another table. So that means you have two sheets. Okay. So when you now have two sheets, what you now have to do, you have to come back here and now come and add. Can you see? You now add another Excel sheet. So let's add the other superstore sales agent. Now you see by default now what has happened, it has joined them together. This file has been shared here now, so the file has been shared here on the chat. So the superstore. So who has that superstore orders and superstore sales agents? Kindly check. All right. So if we open the data set, so let's look at that data set now. Let's open that data set. So let me open it from here. So we can see the superstore data, right? We can see what we have here. So we have, can you see here, we have agent ID, sales agent ID. So this is a bit different from the ones we have been using before. So sales agent ID. It means on the other table where we now have sales agents, it will not give the detail of the sales agent. So it cannot give the detail of the sales agent. So can you see now, this is the sales agent ID. Can you see that? So what is connecting this table with the superstore table? With the others table? What is connecting them together?
Sales agent ID.
In the sales agent ID, and that sales agent ID is called what? The sales agent ID is called what?
Primary key.
It's called the primary word key.
Primary key, yeah.
Why sales agent in the others table is called what? The sales agent ID in the others table is called what?
Foreign key.
Is called the foreign key. So you see, it is the foreign key that enables you to now what? Connect them together. Right? It's the foreign key that helps you what? Connect the two tables together. This foreign, is there anybody that is confused with this foreign key and primary key? I'm sure we are familiar with this. Yes? We are familiar with it now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then that's fine. So let's go back to our Tableau. So which means that if we check the tables, we are not familiar. Okay. So what it simply means is that you see every table, right, must have a unique identifier. Every table must have a unique identifier. There's something must identify that table. Okay. So for example, if I look at this entire table, what's uniquely identifying this table? What can we say that is uniquely identifying this table? Or for example, is the other ID, right? Either I can use other ID or I can use row ID. It's just for example, like in class, right? In a class, you will have the person's first name, you have their surname, you may have date of birth, you may have the courses, right? You may have the courses that they are taking. Now, do you know that two people can bear exactly the same name? You can have somebody bear Fransukoye, the same name, but they are two different people. Is that possible?
Very, very.
That can bear the same name. I think I shared a picture where you saw two people bearing exactly the same name, same date of birth, right? I think we shared it on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, we did. We did some time ago, yes.
Yes. So it means that to avoid that kind of problem, well, how do we now differentiate them? How do you now differentiate them? So if two people are bearing exactly the same name now, so how do we now differentiate them now?
Matric number.
You must have a
student
matric
ID.
number. Exactly. Either math number or a student ID. So this student ID 1, 2, even they are bearing the same name, everything the same. But this math number will never be the same. So this shows there are two different people. So in that case, your student ID now becomes what? A unique identifier. Do you get that? So the same way you can have cost 1, cost 2, cost 3. In another table can be called cost table. So you can have data analytics. So maybe 1. So this is cost ID 1, or let's say cost ID 1, data analytics, cost ID 2, data science, cost ID 3, machine learning. Can we see that cost ID here is connecting with cost ID here? Can you see that? So this table, course ID is a primary key. On this table, student ID is what? A primary key. All right. But you see that you have course ID in this table, and you also have course ID in this table. But in this table, course ID is not a primary key, but it's a primary key in this table. So whenever we have a primary key appearing in another table, it is known as what? A foreign key. It is this foreign key that helps you what? Connect these two tables together. It helps you connect the two tables together. Is that clear? Did we get that?
Yes, sir.
What I was saying was not clear. So most times, if that way when we do SQL, right? We do SQL. This is why you need to learn, because how you connect them is through what they call a join. And I said last time, let us go and revise our joins, isn't it? So it means what has been done here is a join. Can you see that? So for you to have a join, it means I will look for two things that are connected. So there's 1, 2 here, there's 1, 2 here. So if you just take these two. So if this has no data, it will not join anything for you. It will only join where it sees what data. So that's what they call an inner join. So where the two, whatever I see in this table that matches whatever I see in the other table, match them together. So that's what they call what? An inner join. So most time in practice is that you use an inner join or a left join if you want to just match everything. But most time what we want to check is where the two tables, they have exactly the same content, right? There's something similar to both of them. Bring them together. So that's why when I bring these two tables together, you see at the middle, can you see what they call, you see states? You see here, you have states. Here you have states. So it's now showing what it's using to join them. Can you see that? Sales agents. Why here? If I have sales agent ID and I go and match them, if it does not see it, it will give me error there. Can you see that? Mismatch. So that's why if you want to clear it out, you just remove. So if I come back to my sales agent, I will drag it again. Automatically it will detect it for you. Okay. So that's what it's doing for you there to detect. So if I want to see the data, I can come to this side. Look at the field. Can you see the table? This is the orders table. This is the field name. So you see the other one now starts with sales agent. So you see here sales agent ID, while in others table, it is others sales agent ID. Okay, sales agent ID. So if I come to where is it now? So this is my sales agent ID. But you see, if I come here, sales agent ID, let me see that. So if that's how I want to match them, so I now go back and check. So that why you must be careful that it's doing exactly what you want to. So you see these two columns. Can we move this? Okay, so you see these two columns must match. So can you see here you have 16, 16, 4, 4. So sales agent ID. That's on my state table. So on the other one, where do I have it here? Can you see that? 16, 16, 4, 4, 9. Can you see now? That's where both of them will match together. So if I don't want, I can take one out. I can take one, but just to check that what both of them have matched together. So once I come to my data, so I can take this guy out. Take this guy out. Okay, so let me remove this, remove this, remove this. All right. So if we notice what has happened now, you will notice that here you have the others table. Say here you have the sales agent table. Can you see that? The sales agent. All right. Then here is your measures. So your measures for your orders and for your sales agents. All right. So you see that there. So what have we done? This we have brought two tables from we have brought data from different tables to match them together. So that's why from others table, I can take maybe category, right? Then from my sales agent table, let me take age. Now let me now take the average. Let me switch it to what? Average age. So let me take category here. So category and age. All right, good. So this is sum now, right? So sum. So if I want to switch it now, switch it to what now? So this is measure sum. So let's switch it to average. So you see on average, there's no difference in the average age of the what sales agents, right? Because you know, if I had put sum of age will not make sense now. It will not make so much sense. But if I take on average, right? On average, then that's also okay. But here, let's look at another way of breaking it down. So the point is that I can easily pick my data from the different tables. So let's say, for example, I have my sales agents here. Okay, let me put it here. So these are my sales agents. Let me take the sales that they have made, sales they have made. Can you see that? So with this one, I can see who is my top selling agents. So this in terms of total. What if I say on average? Matthew on average, right? Shows that. So on average, this is the person, Matthew. So what I can do, I can take my name and put it on this column, or I can put it on label. So just to show who is the highest on average. But if I have said in terms of the total, you see it's a different person. So why does that happen? Why is total giving me different from average? Why is total giving me somebody else? Average is giving me another person. So why does that happen?
I feel like the total is all the sales that that person has made, but the average is probably like each each sale, like how much on average was it?
Yeah.
So
So and that's it again. You also need to look at the time frame, right? So is there an order date there? Is there an order? Yeah, there's an order date there, right? So if we see it is from when to when now? 2000 and what? So you see the Howard. So this is Howard. So this is in terms of the total sales. But when I switch it to average, uh, what was the highest that point? Oh, this is for the different years, right? So this is for the different years. So what we can also, but the point here is just to also show that even when we have, so let's take that out. You know what so this one we have to switch it back to months. Ha. Let us take it back. Let's take this. Let's take this on year. Okay, let's say year. There are quite a lot. There are quite a lot here. So let's take that out. Take that out. All right. So you see, it's from 2017 towards 2020, isn't it? 2017 to 2020. So if we do it on a quarterly basis, so if I break it further again on a monthly basis, if I break it further again on a daily basis, weekly basis, so I break it day. So you see how you can break it now? So you can go in that dimension, you can break it down, break it down, break it down. All right. So you are noticing that it's from 2017 to 2020. So that sum is adding up from 2017 to 2020. So the total. All right. But on average means that there may be situations that for 1 year you just had a one-off sale. It's not that it was so large for you. But if you look at it over time, you are not making that sales like that. So that's why sometimes you see that the total will be different from the what average. So it all depends on what you are trying to what could be, right? And that's why sometimes it's also important to also check for outliers, right? So sometimes you also do your box plots. You can see your box plot. You can see box plot is showing outliers, right? So that can be a possible reason why that's your average and your sum. You see the gap is so wide. Okay, because of that, your outliers. Then if you want, you can switch to median. Right? So that way, if in case you don't have, so you see whether for medians, for months, so can we see that now becoming what smaller? So those are the things you can just check, right? Those are things you can. So you can bring data from what your different tables and start what your visualization. So for this one, if we take category, let's put category there. Then if we want our sales, so we can take our sales to, let's say, labels. Sales on labels. Okay, some. So let's take our sales to color. So that will not give it what it needs. So let's take that there. Then so for our labels now, what are we going to do for it now? See, but now because we have a lot of sales people there, right? Remember, it's taken from both tables. So that's why even when we now take, for example, the names, you see, it will scatter everything. So let's take them. So how else can we do it again?
So I had a question.
Yes.
So you know how we this before we went to this area chart, we
Yeah.
we did several things like we checked the sum, we checked the median, we check the average. So I was thinking like, you know how on Excel you taught us how to do like exploratory data analysis that we should first do, check how like just do exploratory data analysis, sha. Is it possible to do that here with Tableau, to just be putting the figures, to just be putting the variables in the columns and rows and then be checking the medians and all that instead of doing it on Excel?
So to do that, right, remember this is a visualization tool, right?
Okay.
So it's in the sense that if you want to do that, it means that you can only be checking them at this point. You see that? You'll be checking them at this point. Can you see that? So what you can simply do is just to put them on tables. Then you can now switch your where are the values now. So let's take our sum. Let me go back here. So let me take one out. So let's put the table. So you see your table right now. So if I switch here down to average, right? So it's only at this point you can actually be checking the median. Can you see that? Count. So it's only at this point you can do all that minimum. But everything you are seeing here is that your descriptive you are talking about.
Yes.
So unless you want to just create one by one, but most time, you know, this at the end of the day, all you want to do is just to do a report.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why you don't necessarily have it like a table, like an analysis, just the way you have it in Excel or your R or Python. So that's just it. So that's why it just gives you room to choose whichever one you want to show, whether it's median, the average, or whatever. So that's just it. I don't know if that answers you. All right. So, okay, so let's continue. So remember, before you jump into all this, you must have your questions that will guide you, isn't it? So that you don't start, so you know exactly what you are doing. So if you don't have any questions to guide you, then what you are just exploring, trying your luck, isn't it? So most times it is the questions that will guide you on what you want to do, right? Is the questions that will guide you. So if I have, for example, what region selling the most quantity, can you see that? Then once I have that question, then to answer that already, so I can just take my region, put it in color, and I have that. Or I can take my region, put it on labels. You see that this is already there, just in case. Then in that case, I can take that out. Then I can just take my quantity and put in labels, and I have that there. All right, and we know how to edit all this already, isn't it? Now, another thing again we can do, you see, all we have done is to bring the data from Excel. But there are situations where you may have to connect to the database, right? So all these were already either Excel or CSV file, either an Excel file or a CSV file. So that's what we have been working with before. But there are instances where we now need to use a database. So let me close this so that we can launch it again. Okay, let me first of all, okay, that's fine. Let's share it again. Let me launch it again. So far, we know we have used MySQL, isn't it? But if you're using Microsoft SQL Server, for most organizations, they will have to give you like an IP, right? They'll give you an IP, then you have your password that you're going to use to access the database. Okay. So let's say in our own situation now, if you are using MySQL, so you are connected to MySQL, can you see your server? Can you see your server IP? Now, in my SQL now, what other name will we call this? What other name will we call it? What name will we call this? In my SQL, what name will we call this? Where you have server. Yes? What name are we going to call it in MySQL? Where you have your server name.
Like hosts.
Yeah?
Hosts.
Which host? Yes, this IP address, right? This is the IP address. But rather than calling it IP address, you call it local host. That's because this is on the system here, right? And that's why you see that your own local host, this is the server name, your IP number. So in most organizations now, they will give you the IP that you are going to use to connect to that database. They will give you a username. They will give you a password. You see why I say when you're installing that MySQL, keep your password somewhere. Because the moment you forget that password, that means you cannot access the database anymore. So you now type your password. Okay, you now sign in. Can you see now I've connected to the database? So if I now check my database, I'll now come down here. Can you see all my database is here? Can you see all my database is there?
So it's connecting to your MySQL on your system.
Yes, my MySQL, exactly. So I've connected straight to the database now, right? So maybe like also, so can you see the tables now in the database? Can you see the table? So for example, if I take this, I'll just click updates. Can you see that updates now? It will show me the data there. Then I can drag maybe geography, updates. You see the data. So what it's doing there is a join for you, is it not? It's doing a join. Then maybe people. I can take people there. Can we see that updates? I can take product updates. Now I brought everything together. Remember in how you have it in your what do you call it? In Power BI, like your data model.
Yes.
So this is just like a joint. So now you can see everything. So sometimes if you want to put your, so for example, if I want to now create my own syntax, so let's say select star from what's the name of this database? Awesome chocolate. So let's say if I say awesome chocolate. Now remember, because of the problem of these spaces, isn't it? Dot what? Sales. So if I say okay, it says it should show it as a custom query. Can you see custom query here? Let me take out everybody here first so that we can see it properly. So look at it here. So I've said select star from what?
Awesome chocolate.
Awesome chocolate dot sales. So what did it say here? Now another thing I remember again. You see, in this thing there, you need to also go and get your what they call it. There's an installer you also need, a driver. Just in case you cannot see it, there's a driver you are going to install. So most times we give you where to get it from. Let me see whether I can get anyone. So if you go to the Tableau, you can see you see support drivers. Let me paste it on the chat so that just in case you try yours and yours doesn't work. Because sometimes it's not always automatic that it works. So you see support drivers there. So if your own doesn't work, you don't have to use that. So it's on the chart there. So you can see the support driver. So you just go through it. if you are using my SQL, you switch to my SQL. If you are using a SQL server, you download the one of SQL server. Okay, you download the one of SQL server. All right. You download the one of SQL server. Okay. So that's basically it. So what were we checking here just now? Here, custom. So what's the problem here? It says select star from awesome chocolate. Okay, since I've connected, let me see if I just connect it direct. Let me see if I see sales. Will this work? Aha, so it worked now. So can you see data now? Come straight. So I can just call this one sales. Can you see it now? You just connect straight. Then which other one again? Let's say geography. So I take geography and put it here. Updates. So can you see that? So I'm connecting straight into the database. All right. So that's why those are your syntax that you want to write. You see, with Tableau, right? Tableau, because of these joints already, you don't necessarily need to go and write that joint. Unlike in Power BI, where we need to write the joints so that you bring everything at once. But in Tableau, it already takes it for you and joins it for you together. And you can easily start your analysis. So in that case, I can now come to my sheets and now say, okay, this is my region. Where's my sales? Where's the amount? Put that amount there. Can you see that? Then I can start analyzing. I can take my amount to my labels. I can take my geography to my color, and you have all that. So is this clear? So you see now we can connect direct to your database. Now, if for example you wanted to get, so let's go back to our data source. So if I want to add another data source, so for example, Microsoft SQL Server, you see server name now. I will have to connect the server name, right? So this is my server name. In my own case, I don't have username and password. Otherwise, you would have come here to write the username and password. Okay, so I'll say sign in. Now, can you notice now it has direct connected to SQL Server? Let me take this guy out. Then I can say, let me see which one have data. Okay. So see chunks. I don't know which data this master, but let's check on that one. There's this okay, not with. All right, not with. So with not we just say updates. So the one I can see to pick it there. So let's take what now? Others. So the same way, if I want to write a query there, I can just let me see select star from others. Okay, update now. Can you see that I will pick it straight from there? So you can write your query there. So when you want to write query, just come to new custom query. You know the difference is that first one, it will take everything. But this other one, it means I can only select certain columns. So select what? Let's say select customer ID. Select customer ID. Select what? Ship city. And let's say select what again? Select what again? Don't copy this guy out. So I'll check the columns. Okay, let's say ship country. Ship country. So remove. So let's do that again. So select the ship country from which table will this one come from? Is it others? Which table was it? Was it others table? From others.
Others.
Yes. So you can see that I selected them. This one I can just take them out. I didn't select those ones. All right. So you see that I pick them out for you. So you can just write your queries there and put them there. But just take note, you need to download the drivers. So sometimes when you try it and it doesn't connect, it will prompt you that you will need to install the drivers. Just like in your Power BI. You know, for your Power BI, you cannot just connect MySQL direct. You need a driver. But for Microsoft SQL Server, it will connect straight because they are both Microsoft platforms, so they will connect straight. But for my SQL and for Tableau, you will need drivers for it. So just in case yours doesn't work. All right. I'm sure this is clear now, right? Are we okay with this?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. That's fine. So another thing again you will check is that while you are building it, most time, remember how we do our data modeling, isn't it? We'll have the fact table here, and you have your dimension tables. So you can have dimension, dimension, dimension. So they are all connected like this. So this is the fact table here. So in all these one, which will be our fact table now? Which will be our fact table? Which one should be our fact table now? Which will be the fact tables now? Well, we have quite a lot here because we're connected from different databases, isn't it? So what I can do, let me take remove. Let me, remove. What I want to do, let me take all of them out. I don't need. Let me go back to. Yep. Good. So let's go to next week. All right, good. So, which one should be our fact table now? So let's take orders first. Let's see orders, updates. So this is not even the fact table. Let's check sales by total, sales amount. Okay. So let's take region. So you see in this case, whenever I gives you this, what does this tell you?
That is not matched.
There's no joint. What's the implication is that if I check those two tables, I will not see the column that is what exactly matching both of them, isn't it? So that's why it will give you that error. So that's why before you have done this, you must have done it either on paper or look through carefully to see how you are going to connect them. Otherwise, you just be doing trial and error till you connect them together, right? So, like for example, what I would rather have done is to first of all go into. Let me go into the database first. So let's go into uh, where the database is, right? So that we can see what the database is saying. Where's my database? Okay, good. So you see this Microsoft SQL server, right? So this that same server name. Can you see the server name? I will connect it here. So because I don't have username and password, so I'm going straight. So if I go to new queries, right? New queries. So I can use select what start from what information schema dot what tables. If I check them there, if I don't have it here, and that's I can use also what select start from what system dot what data is. So I can use either of them and check. So I've seen most of the database. So what I'm looking for is that not what do you call it? Not win. So can you see not win there? So I can say what use what not wins. Use not wins. Then I can now check the tables there. So if I want to check the table, select what star from information schema dot tables. I hope we still remember our SQL. Huh?
I try so.
So you see all your tables here. So all those tables with connected streets, can you see them here? These are all the tables. These ones are base tables. These ones are views, right? So it means I want to select this my employees. So I can say select star from what DBO dot what employees. Or I can call it in full. So they can just say not wins, not wins dot DBO dot employees. So can we see you can see them here, right? So that's the first table. So if I want to check the next one, we have categories. So I can just take that, change here towards categories, then run that. So you can see my categories now, employees. So just like that, right? So once you are clear on which is your, so we can see most of those them they are what. So this is my others details. So other details. So I can go there again, select start from where not with dot dbo. Dbo stands for what? What does dbo stands for?
Like database.
Database objects. Database object. So you see, my fact table is actually other details. Can you see that? Other details. So I can connect it with what? My product table. And my product table I can connect with category table. Can we see that? I can connect with category table, then with employee table. So I have to be looking for the code, the ones that match. So once I see the ones that match, then I can go ahead. But I've seen other details. That will be one of my fact table. All right. So for those of us who did not join us in SQL, so it don't look as if we are performing a miracle. So let's go back to my. So that's what I was just trying to show you that most of these things here, they are what you are seeing in that your database. Okay. So you are the ones that is now to pick what you now require. So I saw other details. So I can pick other details there. So update. So that's my other details. Then I can have customer. So if I say category, I don't have anything about category, but I have product. I have product. I should have product somewhere. Well, let me see suppliers. No, suppliers don't work. So you see, I'll look for where do I have product ID. Can you see that? So whichever one will give you product ID. So let's say products by category. Nothing there. Let's check another one. others. Okay, good. So this one has connected. So we now have to look for which other thing are we looking for now? So let's check for employees. Do you have employees? Yes, sir. Connected. You see now we have connected, we are joining all of them together now. Then this one can now connect with employee territories. You see, just like it's like puzzle, isn't it? Once you connect one, connect another one, all of them will start connecting. So once you have done that, we now have one huge table. Let's see. Okay, I don't need this now, so I'll take these guys out. We don't need all these guys, so take that. So this is what you now have. You can see your dimensions now. It's not, so you have your dimensions, your measures, just like that. And you can start your visualization. So let's say we want now, if you want country, now remember again, you see where we have country, city, postal code, region. You know what we did the last time, we turned it into we can turn them into what they call hierarchy, isn't it? So I can take my city into, yes, I can take my region. Okay, let me just leave. So it now becomes a hierarchy. Can you see that? So it now becomes a hierarchy. So if I check, let me take my quantity, let me put it in the map. So it takes some time to start locating, but once you locate it, it will plot the map for you. Then you know again, you have to go and get the latitude and longitude. But once the chart comes out, once it finish looking at all of them, it will bring all the maps out. All right, so that's for your latitude, longitude, your tree map, and the rest. All right, what again? So that's about connecting from different tables, then connecting to what? A database, okay? So that's about your joins. I hope that's okay. Is this okay? Right. Then, what again that I wanted to explain something again. So that guy. Okay, another thing again we can do, let me use the other database that I use. Connect data. Okay, let me just take one there. So our superstore data. Now there's something called data interpreter. I don't know if you have noticed this before. Whenever you bring in data, it's called data interpreter. Although, you see, when you are with Tableau, you know there are different aspects of the Tableau, right? So you have the one that you have the Tableau desktop, the one you used to prepare. But you see, for the data cleaning, there's a Tableau prep, right? But the free, that one you must pay for it. But there's a free version called data interpreter. But that data interpreter, you just look at your data. So if you say view results, it can download that result somewhere for you. Then to just interpret that result the way you need it. So that's why if you are not, so let me share the screen so that you can see what it's doing there for you. So can you see what it has done? So it has summarized this for you now, right? So you can now check. Can you see that headers? So to just look at through your data sets, right? But you see, when you want to clean the data, it still doesn't clean it as well as, so if there are any issues, say resolve, it will go online for you. To go online and look for it. So this is data interpreter. So you just summarize it the way you want it. But it's not everything that to do for you. So that's why if you are not subscribed to that Tableau prep, because that is the tool specifically for data cleaning. So if you are not doing that, in that case, you now have to just take it to Excel, use your Power Query, clean it before you don't take it back to Tableau. Okay, so that's why you see that Power Query is still a very important skill that you need, right? I hope we have not forgotten Power Query. Have we forgotten how to use Power Query?
No, sir. Well, sir, what did you call this this interpreter?
Data interpreter. Look at it here. Where's my Tableau? Data interpreter. Once you import the data, yes, it will just give you, especially Excel files. Can you see this?
Okay.
So it says it's called data interpreter. It's telling me that's done something for me, but
Okay.
if you want to see what that's done, just drag your listing to that there. So that's data there. So sometimes you clean it the way it thinks it's necessary for you, but if you check and that doesn't make sense, then you tell it, don't worry, please just leave it alone. Okay. So that's for that. Because sometimes even when you want to clean certain things, not everything you can clean, right? So for example, you can split. Can you see splits? So for example, you see here now, I can right click this and say split. Can you see that split it? So these are some few cleaning you can do here, but not so much. Okay, just take those two and delete. So you can split, you can even do custom split. So I want to split at the hyphen. Is it not? How many columns do I want? 2 columns first. Okay, good. So it has split it. Can you see that? So you can also do that here. Then some situations, let me see. The other way I could. Okay, okay, like this one, describe. You see that describe, you just like to give you the content of each of them. So whenever you just say describe, it will just summarize the content of that column. Okay. Yes, I was looking for a situation where we can use I want to do pivoting, but it don't allow you to pivot here. Maybe I'll look for that data that we can use pivot, so we can see how to pivot it. All right, that's fine. So let's just go back to our sheet. So it has broken them into this. So the same way we have been doing this. Take my quantity. So this is what we have been doing before, right? So sometimes we may want to do some calculations. You know, like in Power BI now, if you want to do calculations, what do you use to do calculations in your Power BI? In Power BI, what do you use to do?
In Power BI, like Power Query now.
To do calculations.
Use your DAX.
You use your DAX, is it not? We use DAX. So the same way too, Tableau also has its own, right? Tableau also has its own. So if I click, can you see this drop down here? Can you see create calculated fields? Do you see create calculated fields?
Yes.
So those calculated fields, if I drop it here again, create, can you see calculated fields? So that's like your DAX. That's like your DAX. So for example, you see, if we want to calculate, let me see what we have here now. So we have quantity, we have cost. Let me check that data. That cost there, is it in percentage or what? Okay, it's in percentage. So let's say, for example, I want to calculate the costs, right? So this is in percentage, right? If I want to calculate the cost, so I can take the cost times the sales, isn't it? Cost times the sales. All right, so cost times sales. So if I want to create that measure there, so I'll say create calculated field. So let me call it cost. All right. So that cost will be what? Cost percentage. Can you see that? Multiply by what? Sales. So I'll say okay. Can you see cost has appeared now? So if I come back to check on the table now, if I check, I should see cost. Can you see cost now? Check that it's calculated correctly. So 10% of 261, what would that give us? 26 point what? Is that correct? So this is like the percentage, right? So if you say cost is 10% of sales. Here is 10%, 10%, 45%. Can you see that? So it means if I want to get profit now, how do I get profits?
The sales minus costs.
So it means if I want to get profit now, profit will be what? Sales. So you just minus what? Cost. Then I can just click here to check the data again that to see whether it's calculating it correctly. Because you know this is garbage in, garbage out. What was my cost? My cost was 26. So 261 minus 26, would that give us this profit? So it means if I want to create margin, if I want to create profit margin, how will I create profit margin now?
Profit margin is profit over revenue.
It will be what?
The profit divided by revenue.
So it will be
Divided by sales.
Profit margin is what?
Profit divided by
Profit
sales.
divided by what? Sales.
Sales.
Now take note, if there's an error there to tell you invalid, right? So take note of that. So if it calculates that for you, let's check again. So where's my, so this is my profit margin. If this is my profit, this is my sales. So, all right. So does this calculation, does it look okay?
Yes.
It looks okay, right? Wait, so let me see. So my cost 10%. Okay, yes, it's fine. Yeah, I think it looks okay. All right. So you see how we have created our measures. Created our measures. Then
So this is like feature engineering in all those.
yeah, exactly. Yes. But you know, it's DAX that usually do this for you, Power BI. DAX, or if you are creating your features, exactly, you can do that. Then another thing again, you see, for example, if I look at my quantity, right? So where's my quantity here? Now look at your quantity. You know, by default, this is your quantity. Let me put it here. Let me see. I don't want you to sum it up. So it means if I don't want you to sum it up, what will I do? Because they measure already, you know. So I'll take it to dimension. So you see, when I take quantity to dimension, now I put it here. Can you see that I just list it as a dimension? Now, assuming I want to break it down, I want to break it down into smaller units. Maybe I want to make it 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? So in that case, what I can do, there's something they refer to as let's see, quantity. I think they call it beads. Create beads. Can I see beads? Create beads. So I want it in a group of. Now, if I say 2, right? Let me say, if I say bead of 14, let's say 5. Let me see 5. What would it give me? Bead of 5. Let me see what it will give me. So can you see bead of 5 to be 0, 5, 10? So that's total of 15. Let me take maybe like profits. Let's break that. Profits, yeah. So can you see that? So it's like looking at 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 and above. So they are called beads. They are called beads. So you can split them. Let's say, for example, if I want to take it out, I'll just delete it here. Another thing again I can do, have I deleted it? Oh, okay, let me take it back. Let me drag it back here. So you can see I can switch them. What if I come here and say create beads? Now these beads, this is what it suggests for you, right? So if I say bead of 2, right? So let me take that bead of 2. So you can see what it has done. It will just like group them. So bead of 2 means this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're starting from 0. So let's put the values there so that we can see what it is. Labels. But you see, it's doing a sum for you. So if I don't want the sum there, so what I can, let me take that out. Let me take my quantities. Okay, let me take my bid label. So 5, 5, 10, 10, 10. So that's the count. So what you simply do is just to break it down for you. Just to break it down for you. You know, for example, like in your, you know how we're doing it in Excel, For example, if you want to now break it and say between, so let's say less than 5, we'll call it retail. Above 5, we'll call it wholesale. Do you remember that? When we want to break them down, we'll say if it's the quantity is below 5, call it retail. If it's above 5, call it wholesale. How did we do that when we're doing it in Excel? How did you do that when we're doing it in Excel? Yes? How did you do that when we're doing it in Excel? When we break it into bulk, whether we'll break it into bulk or wholesale, or break it into retail, wholesale, distributors. How do you do that in Excel? Yeah. Yes, how did you do it in Excel now? This Excel I'm asking, not even the Tableau. If you want to break it. If you're in Excel
So-
and you wanted to break that your quantity into retail, wholesale, how will you do it?
Like you pivot.
Pivot. Pivot tables, not necessarily pivot per se. Not necessarily pivot. So we want to break this table into, right? We want to break, like, for example, your quantity. We want to break this quantity into, what they call it now? We'll break it into retail and wholesale. Where maybe quantity is less than 5, call it retail. Where quantity is greater than 5, call it wholesale. How do we do it in Excel?
If statement.
Eh?
If statement.
Exactly. Now that's the if statement now. If. Right? If statement. But you see, with Tableau, the way it does its own is a little bit different. So if I come here now, so let's say, what should we call it now? Let's say purchase type or purchase type. So what it does is that, for example, you know how we do it in Excel? We say if quantity, right, is greater than what? Greater than equals to, or we can say if it's less than or equals to 5, right? Call it what? Retail, isn't it? Otherwise, call it what? Wholesale, something like this. I think I would have done it in Excel. If, right? Good.
Yes.
Now, in Tableau, the way it does its own is that it will break it first. It will just say if maybe the first condition, right? If that condition, you state the condition, right? Now you see what you are doing here. When you put this, so this is the first condition, you put this. Then now say then you put the answer there. Can you see that? So if this is what you have done, if that's the condition, this comma is like saying then the answer. Else the second answer. Can you see that? Then you now tell it ends. So you see it's not like typical programming. Can we see that? So it means if I want to do it here, I will have to tell it what? If what? If quantity is what? Less than 5, right? What should I do? What should I do? If quantity less than 5, what's next?
Then
Then what?
retail.
Call it retail. Call it retail.
Else
Else, call it what?
wholesale.
Wholesale. Let's say exactly. Okay, calculation is valid. Otherwise, if you say it's invalid, you know there's problem somewhere. So click OK. And that's it now. So purchase type now. So if I take purchase type now, let's see purchase type. So let's take our quantity. Let's take our quantity to our row. Can you see that now? So I take purchase type now to this. I can now have that. Clear?
Yes.
Yes. But sometimes again, you see, this one was just two conditions. So let's say, for example, let's create let's see, let me just call this purchase. Or let's say customer type. Customer type. All right. Now in this case, I want maybe three. I want maybe retail, wholesale, and distributor. So I want three now. So it will now be if what quantity is what greater than 1. So what I want to do is that I want it to be between, let it be between 1 to 5, 6 to 10, then above 10. Can you see that? So if it's between 1 to 5, call it what? Retail. If it's 6 to 10, call it maybe wholesale. Then call this one distributor. You get this? So that's the logic we want to try and build here. So between, can you see that? So between what? 1 and 5. Can you see that? So that's why I say if it's between what? 1 and quantity is less than 5. Can you see that? Then what? Call it what?
Retail.
You know what would have done? Would have said if again, is it not? But in Python, what do we call it? Elif. Elif. So else, if quantity is what? Greater than or equals to 5, and what?
Less than 10.
Quantity is less than what? 10. Then call it what? See. Else, call it what? Distributor. Then end. All right, so that works. So if I come to this other side, so take my, if I check which is most profitable, you can see that wholesale is more profitable. So I can take my profit there, and that's it. Then I can take my customer type to colors. That's it. Are we clear with this? Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so that's basically, maybe as we go along. So what I'm trying, remember what I'm trying to do, I'm just showing you different aspects, not then before we now start bringing everything together from all we have learned so far. So this is, so as time goes on, you still have to build more advanced functions than this, right? More measures, right? But for now, this since we are just introducing it, so you can just use these ones. The other things we shall also look at. Okay, for now, let's use this. So let's try and just build, just pull a report together, right? From all we have been doing so far. So let's quickly build something. So here I can just format this, remove my grid lines, okay. My labels, if that will not work for me, then what I can do, over my formats, So I can have that 12, make it bold. All right. Then for my colors, so for your colors, you could edit colors. So you can choose whichever color you like. Tableau Classic. Apply palette. Apply. Okay. Okay, let's leave that. So remember all these ones that will disturb us later. Let's take that out. Okay, let's label this. So what are we calling this one now?
Like,
Okay, right? Yeah.
like sales outlet.
Let's even hide it because it's going to cause problem for us later when we're trying to move. So let's call this one customer
Profits.
by is it profit we use? Okay, by profit. So so it means we have to go and edit this one. Uh,
So
yeah.
whenever you're naming things, I usually see people say like customer by profit or profit by customer. How do you know which one to call it? How do you know which one to call first? Is it profit?
Yeah. Most times it's just like looking at dependent and independent variable. Yeah. So it's like saying customer by profits, right? If I say profit by customer, right? So it's either, so the point is that, grammatically, there's one that sounds more correct. Statistically, there's one that will be more correct. Do you get? So if I look at it, let's say customer by profits, right? And profits by customer. So which one sounds more appealing?
To me, I think it's profit by customer.
So profit by customer, right? So
Yes.
it means profit. So profit is the main thing you are trying to explain. So profit here is your facts. Customer here is your what? Dimension. So if I say regions by profits, so see rather it's supposed to be what? Profit by region. Isn't it?
Yes.
So the facts, then the other one is the dimension. I want to explain, I'm explaining profit by this dimension. Okay. But yes, you see people use them interchangeably, right? But yes, it's the fact that will come first, followed by the dimension. Because you are trying to explain it, this profit by whatever has happened.
Okay.
Can be sales by region, isn't it? Region by sales. No, sales by region. So yes. But again, when you as you keep practicing and see other people's reports, right? Conventionally, you start seeing how they also do their own reporting. But in case you don't want, so that's why if this way is confusing you, yeah. So sometimes what people will also do is that they can just put it in a question form. So you can just, or you can put it in a statement form. You can just say regions with the highest profits. Can you see that? Region with the, so instead of going to say region by profits, which does not sound, you put it in a statement form. Can you see that? So that's another way they can do that. Does that answer you?
Yes, yes, it does. It does. It does.
All right, great. Uh, Okay, so here we say customer. So let's say okay, profits by customer. Profit by customer. So I wanted to format this. So if we are formatting that, so let's leave it. This decimal. So let's put it to what? We'll put it to naira or dollar, right? Which one are we using?
Naira.
Naira. So look for Nigeria here.
Hausa Naira, Igbo Naira.
Have you seen it? Hausa. Custom. Now display units. Are they in thousands? So put it in case. All right, good. We're good. All right, I think that's good. So another thing, if you don't want all of them, you can just put minimum and maximum. They just give you the minimum and maximum. So just especially when your data is they are quite lengthy. 12 points, maybe you can reduce this to about 10. All right. Then specifically can format edit color. Maybe we make it red. Okay, let's leave that guy. Okay, I think that's okay now. So let's do another one. Which ones did we do? Okay, let's say region by cost. So I can take my region, take it to my color. Then all these other ones. So remember, if I want to break it down, I can take that heading out, or I can take hide title. You know why we're hiding this title, right? We know why we're hiding the title. So this is cost by region. Do we know why we're hiding this title?
Is it because of reports?
Yes, when we are building our dashboard, you know, when we build it, bring them together, you notice that the title tend to distort it. So because already, if you want to do, although maybe I think maybe next class we'll do storytelling. You know, there's a part here we have what they call storytelling. Can you see stories? So you can now break them and just put whatever you want on top. Then put it in the form of that story. So we can also do that. What again? Okay, profit margin. We created profit margin, right? So my order dates. Now, if I switch my order dates, remove it from measures. Let's make it months. So that's months by what now? Months by, let's take profits there. So let me aggregate it. All right. Let me break it by region. Where's my region? All right, let me break it by region. Yeah, this one is too okay. Let me this week, right? So let me switch it to year. Let's make it monthly. Quarter. All right, then let me take my, what was that, profit, right? So I can take my profits. Is this profit or profit margin? I think it was margin I wanted to take. Margin. Right. Now, what does this margin, what does it say? By quarter, what does it say?
What percentage of the profits, what percentage of the revenue you kept in your business
Yes.
after?
You know that your margins, it don't make sense to add up all together. Can you see that? So rather for your margins, you need to take the average. Right? You take the average. Let me see. Okay, good. You can use the system format. None. So I can take this out, show headers. So labels, all I take on the labels now. This was what profit margin. So let me take profit margin for the labels. But here I'll take minimum and maximum. So minimum is about 236. That was in the central. So that means our highest is in the west. All right, good. So we have that. So this is what margin by region. So maybe okay, margin by region. So let me take, which other one did we create again? Okay, let's say our, so we have seen customer type. Yes. So let's create another one again. What else should we create now? Beans. These are our beans. This quantity. That passing the message to us. Okay, ship mode by cost. Ship mode by cost on average. So it cost us more. Okay. So let me now sort it out. Standards. So let us now format. So let's format that. So let's say for example, first put the colors first. This is what standards. So ship mode. So let's take that to color. Great. So your color, I'll put a palette. Traffic lights. Okay. Assign palette, apply. Okay. Good. Then we can take this out. Hide labels there. So maybe I'll take the average cost. So I can put the cost on the label. Then these two I'll have to format. Okay, I'll come here, let me format it here. So standard, we are using Naira, right? So that means I have to go to currency, Igbo Naira. Okay, good. Remove that units, make it in thousands. All right, good. I think we are good to go. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, good. So we'll now come to our dashboard. Let it come to your dashboard. Now, what we have been doing before, right? For example, if I come here, so I say, for example, I can take my text, I can put my text there, so I can have my title there, right? So what report do we call this now? Which report do we call this? Yes?
We have profit, we have costs, we have these, all these things are part of the income statement. So can we call it income statement reports or something?
Income statement.
That doesn't sound well. Sales.
Sales reports. Okay. Sales reports. Okay. We're going to say sales performance report. Make it bold. Okay, great. Remember, you have to switch it to floating, right? Now, and what you gain, you can also do. Notice here, you have to switch it to floating. Alternatively, what we would have done, you see, everything is on tile. You can switch everything to floating. Now, you see, everything was on tile before, so now I can switch everything to floating. So it means if I bring image, it will be floating. And I can now bring, let's see, image here. Let's say November. Okay, let's say LBS. Okay, good. So you now see everything is now floating. So if I highlight that, let's make it blue. All right, so if I want to bring it down, so let's say I want to bring this. So you see everything is now floating, right? So I can just float everything straight. So this guy can go off. Profit by customer. You see, I'm going to hide that. Okay, label. Format. Okay, convert. Hide title. Okay, let's bring another guy. Cost by region. So I can hide title, hide label. Okay, I need label this one. Where is that guy? All right, out. Okay, let's do the other one. Okay, let's take high title. All right, let's go. What is highlighted here? Is anything highlight? Am I highlighting it? don't know why it's not. Anyways, then what was the last one again? Okay, let me bring. It's like everything is just one chat I'm using. Okay, don't worry. There's something I wanted to explain again. So I can take all that guy out. There's something I wanted to explain. Now you see when you plot your once you are done with all your visuals, right? Once you are done with all your visuals, the only thing that is stopping it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so what I'll show you, there's something they call let's see. No, floating. Can you see something called user? Can you see this users filter?
Yes, sir.
If I click users filter, right? You know in Power BI, right? You know when you build your dashboard, you know when you click on one of the charts, everything will be interactive. You see like this one, when I click on this, it doesn't affect any other person.
Mhm.
It doesn't affect any other chart. Okay. So if I come here and say users filter, can you see that users? So if I click one, if I click, do you notice? Are the other ones changing?
Yes, sir.
Are the other ones changing? Can you see? Can you see how they are changing?
Mm.
So these
Isn't this
are called.
isn't this like a slicer?
Exactly.
Like filter, but it's filter. Anyway, slicer and filter, they actually do the same thing too, right? So it's just like a slicer, but normally they put it under what they call, I think they call them actions. Can you see actions? So
Yes, sir.
it's called an action. Okay. Sometimes if I click on this now, let's say edit, I can even do what they call hover. So if I use hover, hover simply means you see what's happening here now. Once I click on instead of it to click, I'll just move around it, and you notice your chart is changing. Can I see that? I'm not clicking in this case. The first one I was clicking, but this second one I'm not clicking. I'm just hovering around it. I'm just moving around it. So this is called hover. So these are called actions. If you don't want it again, you can just remove. We are back to normal. Can I see that? Nothing is happening again. Undo.
You get that
Nothing.
over.
Yeah, so that's that hover. If I want to do it again, so what I will do here, I'll just click the drop down and say use a slicer, right? Use a slicer. But for me to get to the form, okay, no action. So what I will do, I'll come to this dashboard. Can you see actions? So I can say Control Shift D. Control Shift D. Can you see that?
Yes.
So under this place, I'll click on it. I'll say edit. Edit. Can you see hover? So I can even select what I want to hover over. So I want to hover. So now I selected this ones. So I'll just click OK and OK. So now if I move to this one, you notice it's changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I move to this one, you notice the whole chart will be changing. Did I select this one? Anyone I have selected, that's one that will change. But if I did not select anyone, it will change. So that's the hover. Okay, so that's hover. So those are now things you can now bring together because what we have done now, we are just showing you the little things. You know, then later I'll now build a full dashboard that will now incorporate everything that we have learned so far. Okay, so that's why it's important to practice everything that we have. You see, they are little by little, but you notice that when we want to start building a full dashboard now, it's not be looking as if it's very complex. But it's a little aspect that we are just trying to break down. Okay, so we have seen how how to import your data from Excel, is it not? From two different Excel sheets. We have seen how to bring your data from a database, isn't it? We have seen how to create your what? To create your measures, is it not? How to switch from a measure to a dimension, dimension to a measure, create your own calculated fields. Okay. Now, another thing again we're looking at is our dashboard. So by next week, where we'll be going into more of creating like parameters, what they call parameters, right? Creating parameters. We'll go into storytelling. So how to build stories. It's just like what you already have here. Can you see that? But I can now be putting captions. I can just put my captions. So those are things, those stories you are trying to explain, you can just put them there. Whatever thing you are trying to present, you put it there. If you want to duplicate again, you can duplicate it. But we'll look at this in more detail next week. That's stories, how to use stories in Tableau. Then from there, we'll just build another project again. I think that will be fine. Unless there's another thing again we want to do. I'm sure we have covered most of the basics, right?
Yes, yes. You've shown us how to load data, then how to load data from other places other than Excel, then how to use dimensions, then how to create new features, then yeah, and how to use the different graphs, box plot, and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so I think by next week. Then for data cleaning, because we don't have this prep, I don't have the prep also, the Tableau prep. I don't have that, so I cannot really show how to clean data, but maybe one or two things we can. But I'll show you how to split. Maybe next week I'll show us how to, for example, you have pivots, how to unpivot data. I'll look for a data set that we can do how to pivot and unpivot it. We have shown how to split, right? How to remove columns. So those are some of the basic cleaning you can do. Preferably use Power Query. Finish your cleaning there, right? Once you have finished your cleaning, save it. Then based on that, you now import it into Tableau. So that will make life easy for you. But remember, for those who are using Mac, you may not have that you may not have Power. I don't know if you have Power Query. Anybody using Mac, does Power Query work? Anyone using Mac? Does Power Query work?
I don't think any Mac users here. I think.
Oh, okay, so that's fine. So if at all we needed to clean anything, we'll just use a Power Query to clean it and transform it. Then we'll save it and now bring it back into Tableau. You can start working.
So,
all right. Any other questions?
Dr. Francis.
Yes, sir.
On my own Tableau,
Yeah.
I can see these options to connect with databases. So I just wondering.
No. You remember what? I'm sure you are using public.
Yes, public. Yes.
Public will not allow you to. Public will not allow you. That's why you see when if you have downloaded the professional, right, the trial, you see you can do all this. But once it expires, you cannot do it again. So this is under professional. When we started from the beginning, we showed public, professional, prep, all those ones. So this is professional.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's why. So for your public, I think you would it's only some of the visualizations you can do basically. That's true. Remind me again that next when we are done, we should now show how to publish it to the web. In fact, by next week, everybody go and make sure you have register on Tableau public, because without that you cannot publish. You need to publish it on the web. So you now need to use register on Tableau public. So remind me that I should show you how to publish to the web.
Okay.
So once you are done with your report, publish to the web.
Right, sir. Thank you.
All right. Those of you who are used to that be using Tableau to do projects, please, if you are editing your any other thing you need us to also learn, you bring it up to. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, so I think we can end it here so I can join my other session now.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, guys. See you next week. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Francis.
All right, take care.